back to my channel. I am Chic, the owner and CEO of Inspiring Dreams Publishing, and I'm here to help you with all of your self-publishing needs. And before we get into the nitty-gritty, I do want to say, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the notification button so you can know when I am posting my videos. And thank you in advance. So today, first, I talk a lot about self-publishing, but I've never talked about the options of traditional publishing. So in this video, I basically just want to talk about self-publishing versus traditional publishing and which one may possibly work better for you. So the main difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing is you own all the rights as a self-publisher versus a traditional publishing company. You do not own the rights. The traditional publishing company or publishing house, they own the rights to your book, and also royalties. Royalties, you get paid way more royalties as a self-publisher than you would with a traditional publisher, and that's just based off of your contract, advances, all type of different things that you can get with with traditional publishing that you don't get with self-publishing. You can get 40% for self-publishing, but that's like when you're selling your books on different platforms as well. You wouldn't get that 100%, but when you're selling your book yourself, you get 100% of your royalties. So that's something to think about if you are thinking about publishing. So let's see how I am going to. Okay, so traditional publishing, for instance, you want to make sure you have having a booking agent is something that will help you with traditional publishing. Just off the simple fact, you have to kind of pitch your book. So you want to make sure you have an agent. Picture it as being like an actress looking to get a gig and you have an agent. It's the same thing when it comes to having your book. And it is 2022, so it could be a little different and you never know what can happen. However, most times you do have a booking agent who is pitching your book and to different publishing houses. So the publishing company basically purchases your book and then they get ownership of your book. When they get the ownership of your book, you also lose control over your book. And when I say that, I mean cover design, I mean content being put out. Those things are, you want to make sure that you have control over. And sometimes when you go that traditional way, more times than not, shall I say, you lose complete control. So that's something to think about if you are in the publishing, thinking about going down a publishing road. Is, do you want to lose ownership of your book? Are you okay with losing ownership of your book as long as you have like this big machine behind you? That's something that you should definitely think about. And the royalties are also different when it comes to publishing traditionally. So do you want all of your money? Are you okay with getting an advance that will help you get certain things in advance? Or would you rather have all of your funds to you and then you can disperse and do whatever it is that you want to do at the time? So that's something else that you want to think about, because the money is an important part when it comes to being, a published author. Distributing your book is something else. With traditional publishing houses, it's 12 to 36 months, which, depending on what you're writing, that can be long or that can be a short amount of time. It kind of depends on you. But that when it's going to actually be out is based off of the traditional publishing house. So again, something that you want to think about. If you have your book and you're like, my goal is to get this book out in 90 days, then traditional publishing may not be the best option for you if that's something that you want to do, because you don't want to wait a year or 2 years to get your to get your book published. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind. So the main thing that I want to talk about when it comes to self-publishing, and with self-publishing, you're in charge of everything. Are you ready to be in control of the marketing, the content, distributing the book, coming up with the pricing for the book, doing all the research that you will need to do for your book? And when I say research, I mean finding an editor, finding somebody who can do cover design, finding a distributor to actually print your books. It's so many things that goes into self-publishing as well. However, I can be biased. I might be a little biased. Self-publishing gives you freedom. It gives you so much more freedom. Whereas traditional publishing, you don't really have all of that freedom that you would have as being a self-publisher. So I did jot down a couple things that will kind of just tie everything in, pros and cons, and I'll just make sure that I leave you all with that. And if you have questions, leave them below. I will make sure to give you answers for sure. So pros to traditional publishing would be the monetary advance, and I'm sure that depends on the publishing house. You also get your book placed in different bookstores, so you can get your book actually inside of like the Barnes and Nobles, and Barnes and Noble seems like maybe or like grocery stores and stuff like that too. So like the aisles at Walmart and Target, your books can be placed inside of those places when you have something like that, and also higher media coverage, because a traditional publishing house has that machine. So when it comes to getting your book out there, it makes it like, whoa, this book is really out here. Something to think about. The cons is it's hard to get a deal with a traditional publishing house. How can I say this? I feel like traditional publishing houses are definitely still a great place to get your books published, depending on what you want to publish and what your goals are for your book. But 1%, I just would hate for anyone out there to feel discouraged if you keep going to publishing houses and you feel like you can start to feel like your book possibly isn't good enough. And I would hate for anybody to feel like that, because your book is good enough. And that's when self-publishing comes in, and you can have complete control over your book. You have complete control over when your book can come out. That's something to think about. Yes, having a big machine behind you would be amazing, but having your book on a shelf for 12 months when your book is ready to go and you truly believe that you can get your book out there is even more. I feel like that's gratifying, to be able to self-publish your book and you can have your book out in 6 months because that is what you choose to do. Now, like I said before, the cons are you do everything, and it can be expensive. When I self-published my book, I worked 2 jobs to self-publish my book, but it was something that I was so passionate about doing. So I worked 2 jobs for probably about 2 months because I had to pay for the books. I also had to, I had a coach. If you want to know that story about all of that, go back a few videos and I touch base on my coaching experience that I had. But I did have to, I had to pay her, and then I had to pay the illustrator. I had to pay the editor as well. But I am just a strong believer that when it's something that you truly, truly want to do, you will definitely get it done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It does take, it's time consuming. I'm not even going to hold you. It is time consuming. However, When it's something that you believe in and something that you want to do, you can do it. I touched base at the beginning of the video. The biggest difference when it comes to self-publishing and traditional publishing: royalties, which is your money, the big machine behind you, the marketing. This is for traditional publishing. And you lose ownership of your book. Self-publishing, you have complete freedom, 100% up to 100% royalties, but it is a lot more work because you are the person doing all of the work. So just keep that in mind. If you need help or something that you want to do and you're not sure where to start, I will leave the link below for Inspiring Dreams. We can set up a consultation and I can provide you with coaching. I also have the services that you need as an author. That goes for editing. That goes for illustrations, marketing, book launches, all of that. So if it is something that you need help with and you're just not sure how to do it, contact me. Leave a comment below. I'll contact you. But I do want you to know you can do it. I promise you can do it. Stay encouraged. You got this. Do your research on self-publishing versus traditional publishing. If I was just somebody who kind of popped up, I'm glad I popped up. Hey. But do your research. Make sure that you're choosing what is actually best for you. So that's really all I have. I just wanted to touch base a little bit about the difference between the two. And I look forward to giving you all something new next week. I will talk to you guys soon. See ya.